Matapalpa,
For over 2 decades, Xterra has brought together some of the world's fittest, toughest, and craftiest endurance athletes for a series of off-road triathlons, races that combine open water swimming, mountain biking, and trail running, and demand skill and tenacity, guile and grit. More than a sport, Xterra is a lifestyle, requiring total commitment from the bold and ambitious warriors who want to test themselves against the elements, the terrain, the conditions, and each other in some of the most spectacular natural settings in all of athletics. In this, the 24th season of Xterra Racing, the sport's appeal continues to grow. And as more and more professional athletes are drawn to its unique challenges, the stakes are higher and the victories harder to come by. But it's more than just elite triathletes who live and breathe Xterra. For the thousands of age group competitors, training can become a personal mission, and reaching an Xterra finish line represents a major life accomplishment. This series brings you the stories, the motivations, the frustrations, and the triumphs of the 2019 Xterra World Tour. For episode 7, we head to western Mexico and the town of Tapalpa, about 5,000 feet above sea level, and an interesting, occasionally harrowing 80-mile drive from the city of Guadalajara.
Trying to find the house where we're staying was definitely a huge adventure. We were going back and forth on a really rough road, like we were off-roading it, all of us.
I don't think the rental car company is going to be too happy with us.
In the 5 years since they took up Xterra, Julie Robb and her husband, Joost van Ulden, have learned to take obstacles in stride. Both 50 years old, they are competitive age group athletes who in early August traveled from their Vancouver home to Tapalpa, where they shared a rental house with a group of pro athletes.
We're definitely very remote. It feels a bit primitive just because we don't have the normal luxuries that we do back at home. When we arrived at our house, there was no water, so we're like, how are we gonna do dishes and have showers, flush the toilet? So, just trying to sort that out. This donkey caused us to retake at least 20 times because I think he wants to be in the video.
Yeah, let's turn the water on. There we go, now we got water.
The local beasts of burden were no help with the water pump, but they charmed their guests nonetheless.
So one of the other great things about racing Xterra is traveling to locations that we would never normally go. We had never even heard of Tapalpa before coming here, and just riding in the forest, like on the trails here, and running and swimming. We'd never really, if we didn't compete in off-road tri in Xterra, probably ever see this.
Julie has a big job as a human resources director at a private school, but she's always enjoyed competing. First as a tennis player, then as an ultra trail runner, and, since 2014, as an Xterra triathlete. She trains in the pre-dawn hours and in the evenings after work, and she keeps getting faster.
Yost, are you ready?
I'm ready.
Let's go. Recognizing I am getting older, I don't want that to limit me because it's just a huge passion of mine to be active. So I plan on continuing with Xterra, with doing endurance events for as long as I can.
Xterra Adventures is presented by Tea Tree, eco-minded hair care infused with natural botanicals. Discover the natural magic of Tea Tree. The Maui Visitors and Convention Bureau. Visit gohawaii.com/Maui.
We are of this place. Every action we take needs to have purpose. And that purpose is not to catch every single fish we come across.
That's so good.
The ocean has been here 1,000,000 years before we ever got here, and it's going to be here 1,000,000 years after.
When we founded Paul Mitchell nearly 40 years ago, people would ask, John Paul, why do you want to make hair care products? I tell them, I don't. I want to make super hair care products, but it's more than that. It's hair color that makes you feel like $1,000,000 and passionate people doing what they love. It's giving back, treating the planet kindly, and supporting the professional hairdresser. To me, it's not just about hair care. It's creating something beautiful for all of us.
This segment is brought to you by Tea Tree by Paul Mitchell.
I love the Xterra lifestyle because I love the places that I travel to and the people that I meet and just the experiences that I have on the different race courses and in the different communities, and it's just become part of my lifestyle, and it's something that I share with my husband, which is really wonderful.
Jost's background as a cyclist helped him make the transition to off-road triathlon, a sport that requires stamina and fortitude.
I think road cycling helped me a lot, just for the mental aspect of the sport, because road cycling is just, many hours of really brutal, difficult competition. And so I think that's helped me a lot in Xterra, just, grinding through those really, really tough races. I'm lucky in that my job is actually located in a different time zone from where I live. So I actually can start really early. I start 5:30 every day in the morning, which is tough, but I work from home, so that gives me a lot of flexibility. But I'm finished at 2:30 every day, so that gives me, the afternoon and early evening to do some really good, solid focus training. When we live just one block from the ocean, so it's easy to go for a swim when I need to. Internally, I say to myself every day is like, what are you going to do today to be uncomfortable? Every day you got to be uncomfortable, at least for a period of time. And so that's what motivates me every day.
But Jost doesn't have the monopoly on toughness in this relationship.
My strengths as an athlete is, I think, mental strength. Like, I'll never give up. So even if I am not doing well in a race and if I am not feeling particularly strong, I do not want to DNF. I've never DNF'd.
She had no intention of recording her first DNF in Mexico, a challenging and muddy race. So in the days leading up to the event, Julie and Jost toured the course alongside their elite-level housemates.
It's interesting to see how the pros prepare for an event, sort of the days leading up to it. What they pre-ride, what they pre-run, their recovery routines, what they eat, and all that other kind of stuff. The descent is diabolical. I think right now we're in a situation where we've had a lot of water come down in the last couple months on that section, so it's really rutted. It's very steep. So it's going to be challenging, and that's in the last half of the bike course. So it should be interesting. Xterra is an excuse to travel the world and experience the culture and that sort of thing. So that's what motivates us.
Experiencing the different geographies, the landscape, the cultures in remote places that we would never ever go, places that we'd never heard of. So it definitely makes it, a really exciting adventure. It's so cute. Yeah, look. Isn't that cute?
One couple's adventure is another couple's backyard. Also getting ready to race Xterra Mexico were elite racer Fabiola Corona and her husband, Aaron Sanchez Garcia, an age group competitor.
It's really special to race here in Tapalpa because everybody knows me. My dad has been living here a long time ago. Paulino's, the best food in Tapalpa. It's really important, the support. All my family, my mom and sisters and nephews, they come on the weekend and then they cheer all the time, but yelling.
The 39-year-old Corona has always loved sports.
When I was a child, I was a different kind of child because every girl is sitting down playing with dolls and Barbies and Kens and all that. And I prefer to be outside on the park playing with the boys, playing football and other kind of sports.
There's a deeper idea of terroir. Terroir is not just dirt, it's also the hands that are touching that dirt. Going back to ancient Hawaiians who brought sugarcane here. We try to pay deference to that through all that we do, making this rum.
This segment is brought to you by Maui Jim Sunglasses. Since Fabiola and Aaron got married 13 years ago, they've embraced a life of adventure, honeymooning at an Xterra event in Saipan, in the Western Pacific Ocean, racing all over the world, and even climbing to Mount Everest's base camp.
I think what's kept me racing Xterra is to travel all around the world, and visit new places, meet new people, new traditions, new cultures, new food. We love to travel. We are an adventure travelers and adventure seekers.
Although their bucket list has taken them around the globe, Fabiola and Aaron always return to race Xterra Mexico, an event she has won 5 times.
We're in the downtown looking for good Mexican food. This is the best scenario for this town. At night, there is a lot of little women selling atole and tamales and everything.
Though she enjoys lots of local support in Tapalpa, Fabiola knows that her husband and training partner will always be her biggest fan.
Well, the support that I received from Aaron as a pro athlete, well, he's really big because he do everything. He's the chauffeur, or he drives, he's the coach, he's a mental trainer.
What I admire most as an athlete of Fabiola is that she's a completely warrior. She doesn't even give up, and she's always with a good, positive view of what everything is happening.
I think my best attribute as an athlete is that I don't give up. And if I feel bad, or if I'm in the last place on a race, I finish because I finish. I don't quit. I don't want to have a DNF.
Corona brings her warrior spirit to the racecourse as she goes for another Xterra Mexico title in front of an adoring hometown crowd. Morning in Tapalpa dawn chilly as the competitors prepare to tackle a course that was muddy from recent rains. The 1,200-meter swim was the day's first challenge for Canadian couple Julie Robb and Joost van Olden, who are stronger on the bike in the run than in the first leg of the race. The water temperature was a nippy 64 degrees Fahrenheit. Mexico's Arturo Rodriguez led the men in the swim, followed by Leonardo Salcedo and New Zealand's Sam Osborne, winner of 4 Xterra events so far this season, and American Brandon Rakita. In the women's elite race, Mexico's Sofia Rodriguez, making her Xterra Pro debut, was first out of the water, followed by New Zealand's Samantha Kingsford, American Susie Snyder, and Fabiola Corona, the local favorite. Once on the bike, Osborne and talented Canadian Karsten Madsen raced to the front and pulled away from the field, setting up a showdown for the final leg.
Karsten was obviously strong today. I mean, he bridged across the gap just before the big climb. And we kind of, paced each other up the climb and made sure the pace was super rich, and the race was only going to be between us two.
Sam and I had quite a throwdown. Once I kind of rode up to him, he latched onto the wheel and then up the big climb. When it got really steep, he kind of put a little surge on me. And so we yo-yoed back and forth quite a bit.
At Paul Mitchell, we believe in the beauty of giving back, protecting our forests and waterways, feeding families in need through sustainable community gardens, and ensuring that our products are always cruelty-free. Big or small, there's beauty in making a difference every single day. That's what connects all of us together in a deep, meaningful way. Join us. Live beautifully.
We are of this place. Every action we take needs to have purpose. And that purpose is not to catch every single fish we come across. It's so good. The ocean has been here 1 million years before we ever got here, and it's going to be here 1 million years after.
Xterra Adventures is presented by the Hawaiian Islands. Visit GoHawaii.com, Hawaii's official tourism site. Xterra, racing and apparel for your active lifestyle. Visit xterraplanet.com. Osborne and Madsen arrived T2 together, but the Kiwi had the faster transition and pushed hard on the first kilometer of the run to get a gap, one which Madsen could never close.
And the whole run, it was like a carrot dangling where I wasn't losing any time and I wasn't pulling back any time. So slightly frustrating, but it was, I think, very exciting and hopefully exciting for the spectators.
With the fastest run of the day, Osborne nailed down the victory, crossing the line in 2 hours, 19 minutes, and 31 seconds. His 5th Xterra victory of the season, and an improvement over his runner-up finish in Beaver Creek 2 weeks earlier.
For some reason, I felt like a completely different athlete today. But I guess, we're not robots, so, different environmental factors can play a big part. And yeah, I guess, I was happy to put a really good altitude race together for me and show that, I really can race well up at these higher places.
Fabiola Corona. Fabiola Corona.
In the elite women's race, Fabiola Corona, the 5-time and defending Xterra Mexico champion, and Samantha Kingsford took over the lead on the bike. Corona, who has been racing mountain bikes since she was 15, got a 50-second lead on the New Zealander, heading into T2.
The run, I knew I had to chase Fabiola down because she had a bit of a gap. I guess it's easier chasing somebody and hunting them down than being chased.
Kingsford caught Corona by the end of the first lap and then held on for the victory. Corona gave everything she had, but could not quite catch up, finishing just 33 seconds behind the speedy Kingsford.
You can see the finish line and all the people there with their hands like this to high-five the family and friends. So I saw her just crossing the line and I was like, oh, I was so close to her, but it was like a relief to be on the finish line and to finish the struggle because we was there like almost 3 hours suffering and keeping strong. So I was really happy to cross the finish line, even the second place.
Beyond the elites, Jos van Olden held the lead in the 50 to 54 age group through the first 2 legs, but he tired on the run and ultimately placed second. His wife, Julie Robb, rebounded from a major crash on the bike to win the women's 50 to 54 division.
The descent on the bike, like the technical descent, is quite gnarly. So but I was happy with myself. I did the best I could. I had a bad spill on the bike, but I was able to pick myself up and, you know, just carry on. Lost some time there, but that's okay.
I'm actually happy with a second place finish here, considering the elevation and the competition is pretty tough, and the course was tough, even though the conditions were decent. So I'm pretty happy how I finished. Everybody who stayed in our house actually medaled today, so we're pretty happy about that.
The people here are so hospitable, they're so friendly, they're such lovely people, and so I experienced that throughout kind of my visits to Talpalpa and Guadalajara when we were there the first night, at the race, like just with other athletes that were from Mexico. So it was just, I bring really positive memories back home with me of this experience.
Coming up in the next episode, the 2019 Xterra World Tour heads 6,000 miles east to the Czech Republic and the gorgeous Bohemian Forest, where a French woman enjoying a breakout season and her countryman, a rising star in off-road triathlon, look to add 2019 European titles to their already impressive Xterra resumes. That's next time on Xterra Adventures.
At Maui Gym, we're inspired by color, driven by clarity, and dedicated to improving your view no matter your vision. Our prescription sunglasses are the most technologically advanced available and are 10 times more accurate than those produced by conventional labs. Our Polarized Plus 2 technology enhances color and blocks harmful rays, while our digital processing allows for the widest possible field of vision. Speak to your eye care professional and discover greater clarity with Maui Gym. The view is better from here.